Avery Gibbons, is the founder of Strategy Studio, driven by a strong passion for helping businesses succeed. Avery graduated from the University of Oklahoma, specializing in entrepreneurship and venture management, building a versatile skill set to tackle diverse challenges. What sets Avery apart is her ability to wear many hats in business development. With years of experience working with startups, she's adept at shaping effective marketing strategies and optimizing operations. Her passion for leadership inspires teams, fosters innovation, and drives overall success. Avery's sharp business plans have gained recognition at the state level, proving her skills as a versatile strategist who understands the complexities of business. From breaking national sales records to landing pitches to venture capital firms through social media strategies, Avery Gibbons embodies Strategy Studio's commitment to versatile excellence. Her transformative strategies and unwavering dedication paint a picture of empowerment, innovation, and success, elevating businesses to new heights. Welcome, Avery.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on. That was a lot. And actually, you do a lot. You are a business development firm. Tell us about Strategy Studio and what all do you do at Strategy Studio?
So the business development agency actually came out of my background of whenever I was in college, I started working for a franchised boutique fitness company. I was doing sales for them, broke the national record for most memberships sold on opening day. It was one of those things where I was actually pre-med, and then ended up switching over to business. Within them, after I found the success on the sales side, I ended up moving into like the strategic marketing side. I was doing social media management for two of their franchise locations. And from there, I kind of really dove into the business development side of everything. In college, I was doing business competitions, creating slide decks for consulting companies, really just doing mainly business development. But then within the business development, I found that I was mostly crafting the sales and marketing strategy and every plan, every really initiative that I was executing as well. And so that knowledge ended up taking me to work for some startup companies. And with startup companies, you end up kind of doing a little bit of everything, but marketing was really the niche that I was specializing in. And then I was working with some digital marketing agencies in the Oklahoma City area, the Dallas areas, and it's a very lucrative industry because not everyone has both the knowledge of how the baseline of a business plan works, like combined with marketing. So it was born out of the idea of, okay, in order for marketing initiatives to actually be successful, you have to understand what the target market is, what the motivation is for the company to be pursuing that certain type of clientele, what the company's budget is for marketing to be able to tell them which initiatives are actually going to be able to scale them the quickest. And so I decided to go out on my own and do the business development agency with there's a section in the company that actually I have some in-house digital marketing. We do some partnerships with companies for digital marketing initiatives that if I'm doing a business plan and creating slide decks for a company, I know realistically, okay, I need a partner to help work on the SEO side of this project with me. So it's a very case by case basis, but the ultimate baseline for any project I'm working on is the business plan.
I can tell that you have a very strategic mind and you're very strategic. And I love that because I'm also very strategic. When you start a business, your most important thing that you have is not only have a plan, but have a plan that's actually like good, like a
Right.
plan that will get you through the milestones needed to develop your business. I read your LinkedIn profile. You have a lot of experience in this. Another question I have for you is your philosophy on boutique versus full service marketing firms. So, for our viewers that may not know what a boutique firm is, so a boutique firm does everything. It's like a one stop shop for everything that you need for digital marketing or well for digital. I know about boutique digital marketing firms. I don't know if do boutique business development firms exist.
There is a lot of business development consulting, like innovative management consulting, but there isn't, to my knowledge, which is kind of why I'm creating this, is because they can tell you what to do for marketing, but there isn't the next step of execution of, okay, who do I actually go to execute the plan? So there's the knowledge base within the boutique, like business management companies, but there's not exactly the actual full service execution, I would say.
So it's a little bit different in the business development world versus the digital marketing or marketing world, because boutique in the marketing world is like you have a company that does everything for like a specific industry. It's like a boutique. Like you go into a boutique, it only has certain styles of clothing versus like going into a store like Macy's where it has like every clothing style for everyone. And larger marketing firms can sort of be like those larger Macy's places. Fancy Comma is more like a boutique, like an actual boutique. Part of it is because I am a huge shopaholic and I actually really like boutiques and being able to pick and choose. And when you go to a boutique, you know that everything is, if it's a good boutique that you like, then you know everything there is already stylish. It's curated by the people in the boutique. So Fancy Comma does everything for our clients, but we can't do everything for every client out there. So
Right.
and we don't have every client out there coming to ask for our help because we only work in the highly technical science and technology sector. What's your philosophy on boutique versus full service marketing?
So I actually have worked for and with both. I would say there's benefits to each side. With a lot of the startup companies, there's not always the budget to go for the larger marketing firms just because it's not a feasible solution for a startup company to be on a 6 month or a 1 year contract with an entire firm for every service possible when they really just need someone to tell them, okay, you need this amount of posts per week, you need SEO for these branded keywords, etc. Those type of things, to where I found with more of like the startup companies, it's less of a risk for them to contract with one person that has kind of the multifaceted knowledge of their industry. Because if you understand the baseline of the business model, half the time, if you're working with a startup company, you're actually helping them develop those strategies along the way. But within, I would say, the larger firms, it's tricky because there are a lot of talented people at the larger firms and the full service agencies, but within that there's so many projects going on at once that sometimes it's a baseline of knowledge rather than an in-depth knowledge of that specific industry that you're working with. And I think that's kind of where things get tricky, is if, say, you're like website developer at the industry or the marketing firm is with you for that first month of working with the client, and then they get a new offer by the time you're on the third month of working with that same client. Well, the client is tied into the marketing agency or the marketing firm's contract and not the contract with that individual developer. So their strategy, technically, like in marketing, the creative side of everything, you're working off the basic strategic ideas. You have a main overview of strategy, but it ultimately comes down to who the person is working on the project for you, of how it will be visually executed, strategically executed. There's definitely benefits in scalability within working with the larger marketing firms, but I think for more like one-on-one attention and more kind of adjustment to strategy based on the actual results that are happening, it's more beneficial to go with the boutique side of the business or the marketing agencies.
Boutique firms not only are they're smaller, but they have more experience like in a specific area of working. So that can be really valuable. Whereas like larger firms, like they get the job done, they possibly can do it much faster, or they have a lot of resources. One thing I like about running a boutique marketing company is we're able to pay attention to details and dig into the details for our clients. I love shopping, and I've always thought the idea of a boutique anything sounds really cool.
I've been on the side of working for great agencies, working with great agencies, but there's also the side of part of the business development aspect of my company is I've had clients come to me and they're like, okay, we need to start social media. And then I start doing my kind of like analysis of the company, what we would be doing for our social media strategy. And I realize, okay, we are not even ready to start social media because we don't have our business model identified. And so there's a lot of things to where if you're working with a boutique company, that you can really get things established before you're certain on what services you need, because the service that you think you need might not be what you actually need at the stage you're at in your business development or marketing journey.
Well said. One thing that actually is the way we met is our physics teacher from high school. Shout out to our physics teacher. Hello, if you're watching this. And that's how we actually met. You are able to understand the data side of marketing as well as the creative side. Why do you think, and I agree with you on this, because I'm also like an analytical numbers person as well as a creative, why should people work with someone that has the ability to understand the data side of marketing as well as the creative side?
If you can understand someone's budget based within their business plan, it can help you determine what services and marketing would be best for them based on their budget. Sometimes I think the data side is very important because a lot of clients don't have ad spend budget. And so you have to organically be able to analyze those numbers and identify what market is going to be the best to basically address without really targeting with a lot of money. So I think the side of really analyzing the numbers comes from the budget standpoint of working with a business and helping them actually identify what's best for them. But then within the digital marketing realm, you analyze the analytics to determine what's working with your strategy and what's not. Because if you have, say, a certain strategy planned out for 3 months, but you're not even getting 50% return on what you're expecting for your engagement to be, your impressions to be, click rates, then you have to pivot. But you have to be able to understand why those numbers are needing to pivot and what direction you need to creatively pivot to make those numbers have a different outcome. And I think a lot of it is you can teach someone how to analyze numbers, but I don't think you can always teach the creative side because creativity is kind of that visual aspect where you can tell someone how big the font should be, what words they should be putting together. But if you're able to collaborate on one side and the other side, then it really comes together to kind of bring together the ultimate success behind marketing and business in general. There's also, I feel like, a common misconception that a lot of people, before you kind of get into a deep conversation about what social media is, they think your social media manager should be able to really manage every aspect of the marketing. And what people don't understand is like social media is ultimately kind of just a business card nowadays. Like there's social media managers are extremely talented and I love doing social media, but there's also so many other factors that go into social media management, like the creative side, the analyzing the numbers, and like for website design, SEO, there's always so many different factors that go into that one role. The data side and the creative side have to work together for certain roles to even be executed.
I honestly think that people that have like a science background or have some familiarity with science aren't afraid to like think critically are actually probably better at that part. And I think that's why I'm trying to get all my scientist friends to get into marketing because like they could do really well and they would do
Sure.
really good for marketing. So, what are some common misconceptions in the marketing industry?
I think there's a lot of misconceptions with the one size fits all. Like a lot of, I mean, once you analyze the business model and fully understand what the goals are of the company and what the total addressable market is, the target markets, the actual business model, then I think you have to kind of determine what marketing initiatives you need after that. I don't think there's really a one step approach of, oh, we're going to address 10 to 25 of these non branded keywords this month for every single company that we have with working with us in the agency. And I think that's kind of where also the boutique side comes in, where like I can create slide decks for companies, I can create your business plan, but then there's also that side of, okay, you do need marketing in this day and age to be successful, but once you've established the baseline of your business, the marketing services kind of come after that to actually be worth the investment, I would say. And I think sometimes a lot of like marketing is seen as the first step of, okay, let's just put this money into social media, but then you don't even really have a full business strategy of what you're wanting the outcome to be for social media. And then there's a lot of expectations of, okay, well, I want to go viral, but say you're a say you're a very service-based industry in Oklahoma City, well, going viral isn't necessarily the best option or what you want based out of what your company is addressing. You'd rather be engaging with that local community in the local market. So I think there's a lot of like trend-based ideologies that aren't necessarily accurate for every company, but I think probably a lot of the trends are common misconceptions in the industry and just with really anything. But I think you don't want to risk being a trend for your company to be successful.
Here in Oklahoma, there's a lot of good marketing that I've seen this week as we're recording. Tomorrow is our huge game OU Texas, because you're a graduate of the University of Oklahoma, and I
Yeah.
took a class at the University of Oklahoma. And there's been a lot of commercials lately. I guess I'll just ask you about this because I have been watching these commercials, and from a marketing perspective, I'm intrigued. There are these commercials with the mascots of University of Oklahoma, and which is these these horses, Boomer and Sooner, and also Pistol Pete, who's the mascot of Oklahoma State University, and it's a health commercial. It's for I forget the exact name of the company, but it's like they have a series of commercials, and the two mascots, actually three mascots, because OU has the two horse mascots, and then Pistol Pete, like they go exercising together. When they say know your audience before they do a marketing thing, they really know their audience. Everyone in Oklahoma loves sports, and so I've been actually going on more walks because of these commercials. Like, what are your thoughts on these commercials? Do you think we can? I mean, like, do you have any thoughts on these commercials as like a marketing person? Because I am just obsessed with them, and I wish we had Boomer and Sooner and Pistol Pete do every commercial.
I think it's definitely a smart move with it. I mean, it's football season. I have a client in Dallas who's a property manager for people or properties in Oklahoma and in Texas. And my first initial thought for the week for their post was, okay, let's do something regarding OU Texas with the game on Saturday. So I think definitely leveraging those kind of, the brands that are very notable, but people also have feelings attached to those brands to where they want their team to win. There's motives behind it. It brings people together to watch the game. I don't necessarily think those are trendy things because they're things that have always been around for a certain amount of time and people have love for, and there's general attraction to those type of brands. I think it's a very smart move, and if anything, it's kind of like enlightening for people to see those type of things on TV, on the media. They think it's funny and then it works.
I want to know. I wish I knew like who's doing these commercials. I want to say it's like the T set tobacco settlement money because there's a lot of commercials, and there's also I don't know how much you're on Instagram. I'm on Instagram a lot, and I see them. You can't go to the actual organization's webpage for the reels. Like they just show up as ads everywhere, and so I swear I'm just completely like overwhelmed and bombarded with like Boomer and Sooner and Pistol Pete ads every time I'm on my phone, but it's like the
Funny.
best thing ever. Um, they should hire us. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm
Yes.
not kidding. They should hire us
Fun.
because we could definitely, like, I thought of some other commercials that Boomer, Sooner, and Pistol Pete could do. Like, I came up with like several commercials that they could all do because I feel like if you want to get people to do something in Oklahoma, just like make it be about football, and everyone,
Exactly.
literally everyone in Oklahoma will just do whatever that call to action is. So, and there was a commercial, also Boomerang, the food place did a commercial like kind of making fun of those commercials. Maybe I'll try to find them on YouTube and like link them. But it's like this guy, the Boomerang mascot, like kind of like walking around and frolicking with either Boomer or Sooner, and then they're like eating a hamburger together. They're like doing something, and it's like it's actually gotten like a critique in the form of another commercial. So I think
That's
these
funny.
commercials are just going to become a meme, or they have become a
Yes.
meme somehow. But I'm personally obsessed with them, and it's cool to talk with an actual OU graduate about this, a marketer. So I have way to channel my creative energies, I guess.
Yeah.
So thanks for taking the time to chat with us. What are you working on right now? Anything interesting?
This is actually my first month doing Strategy Studio full time. So a lot of the stuff I've been doing this month is really just identifying the processes for everything, the type of projects I'm wanting to take on right now. But right now I have a lot of the social media management clients. I work with them. The fun thing about some of my social media clients right now is they're actually new venture development. So there's venues that I'm helping them decide how much their packages should be, what should be included in those packages. And then through social media, we're using social media as kind of our sales platform. Not really sales because social media isn't sales, but through the DMs, we're utilizing like a crafted message to reach out to prospects to get them to book the venue, those type of things. And then I have a client for social media who's also developing a dental hygiene product going to launch on Amazon. We've developed them a website to help them have some more direct sales if possible, just as many possible traffic avenues we can have through online resources, but through their social media The product hasn't launched yet, but we're coming up with the strategies of what we're going to do for social media, the presence. We're going to try to organically grow the account first and really invest in more of the SEO side of the company first. It's a product that's sold online. We're going to do the linking of the products to the social media, stuff like that. But a lot of my social media clients are right now in the phases of where we're actually developing the companies and developing strategies outside of social media. That's the fun part to do. And then I have it's kind of, it's for business report season, end of the year. Have some companies that I'm helping them kind of identify what their marketing budget should be for next year, new marketing initiatives for the new year, and then helping them close out the year of what's actually going to be the story that they're telling people of how their 2023 year went and then what we're going to do to move into 2024. So kind of all over the place right now, but a lot of exciting things. And then the possibility to start working with some new tech startup companies coming here soon. So it's all going very well.
I've been doing English tutoring. Like I woke up at 5:40 a.m. and I couldn't sleep, so I just started tutoring English. It's you gotta pay the bills in this economy, I
Yes.
guess. So, and then like today the stock market, so the jobs numbers came out recently, and I just I did a get ready with me of my look that I have today, which is
I
really
saw that. I
fast.
love it.
Thank you. I have this like it's my dream to do get ready with me's and kind of like break some stereotypes. As I mentioned in my Instagram, I was thinking about the economy as I was putting on my makeup because the jobs numbers went up, which means that people are getting more jobs, but
Mm-hmm.
the stock market went down because the treasury bond rate, the long-term treasury bond rate is actually like lower than the short-term treasury bond rate, and usually the short-term treasury bond rate is supposed to be higher or something. So it's called the inverted yield curve. I'm like, well, I guess I'll just tutor every day until the economy gets better so I can pay my bills because marketing's in a recession right now. So, but we're smiley, optimistic. You are much more optimistic than me and much busier than me right now, but
I think if you have the knowledge to adjust to different industries, then you'll be fine. And it's very relationship driven industry. If you maintain those relationships, I mean, word of mouth business is the best business in my opinion.
expert insights from my colleague Avery Gibbons, who we have a teacher in common, our physics teacher. Shout out to our physics teacher. You rule. And we talked about really technical stuff, so hopefully he will really appreciate that. And I actually did I edited a report about physics this morning, and I was telling this kid like, you have to. What's your hypothesis? Like, do you know your hypothesis? So maybe I have an alternative career in the works. Not really though, but
Yeah,
in my mind,
it was definitely a challenge, but I enjoyed the class, and I mean, it was a fun time.
it was a blast. And that's why like lifelong friendships from that, like we connected. So pretty awesome. Thanks for being on.